the word. I am the word manifested in the spirit of ShakaRa. Shaka meaning warrior, king, and Ra meaning sun, energy, and light. So when I write this and it's spoken, it's not for tokens, no, or any fallacies and delusions to support my ego. So unplug your ears from the radio, remove your eyes from MTL-like vision, maintain an upright focused position and listen to the new evolution, the first of a creative expression, combining knowledge, wisdom, undying spirit and aggression, frustrated from a legacy of years of repression. It's the spelling of the myth that ignorance is bliss, brought to you by this spoken word activist from the source of divine inspiration. No time for vain-ass postulations based on fake interpretation. Witness the creations through powerful word sounds. For those who lack understanding, it needs to be broken down. If in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and we are said to be created in the image and likeness of God, then these words are God, expressed through God to fellow goddesses and God, so we can rise to the level of dogs and become gods once again. I scribed with a pen and sent out on nations to shake the foundations of mental plantations to overcome runaways and warriors. Like anomalies in matrix theories, fire purifies, my flow is hot like lava ground in depths of ocean seas, and when they erupt, these words paint 1,000 pictures and impact minds on levels immeasurable to scales like Richter's. Stand the test of time like ancient committee and scripture, so we can burn the illusions and clear out the confusion for those who thought this rapping was all bling, gal and gangster poses. For those who thought this poetry was all daffodils and roses. Now this is real, like raw, explicit analysis of life, like I tell it like it is, and then I tell it why it is like it is. But analysis without vision is dead seed, so I tell it like it could be, I tell it like it should be. I aim to break it down and let it be broke, so Babylon choke through the smoke of the fire I deliver. I don't perform, this is not a game, this is not a phase, nor is it a show. So for those not in the know, please don't make the mistake of mistaking this with us any flow from any young exciting pseudo-conscious bro, cause I just pro-black blood, I'm black pro, like proactive professional professor of prophecy through poetry, pronouncing truth, uncompromising, unlimited and legit. In comparison to lies, I am the opposite, the remedy to the addiction of fiction, on a mission with his lips, for the word to me comes natural like rhythm to African queen hips. This is serious, never comical, so these words are always topical to minds on the road of liberation. No time for idle recitations. When I speak, I seek to be heard and deliver this word with a surety and a purity, impenetrable like virginity, but penetrating like making love. You know, the sweetest kind that gets better with time, because when I'm done, I stay with you. I don't play with you. On the ride the straight along to brighter days and pray with you. This rebel soul, committer of righteous crime, always remains unblind and always keeps in mind that this word is from the source of the divine. So anytime I bless this stage, I say Tendai Mwari. Be thankful unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, for blessing me with this gift called the word. Forget what you previously preferred, heard, and were programmed to see. I know P-I-M-P-U-C-I-M-C, like master ceremonies and move crowds to master concepts with magnificent clarity. For this word is not a game. Forever you will recall when I came. A warrior of the light is my name. I'm ShakaRa.
Look, it's 3 hours like this. Yeah, ready? I gave him back. I gave him back. I gave him back with that hook. I gave him back with his brother. It's not a pretty bad biscuit. Look, okay? Alright, let me say, right? My boyfriend gave me apple, my boyfriend gave me red, my boyfriend gave me kiss on the lips and I really found this thing. Yeah? Alright.
My girlfriend no, forget you. Forget about you, buddy. Let's go, man. I'm ready. Let's go. My girlfriend gave me an apple. One girl did give me a... We did. Come, let's go. One girl did give me a kiss on the lips and I shoot her down the stairs. Yeah, come out. It's any guys, me and you here. Don't argue with me. Don't argue. One, why wasn't up? Come, let's go. One thing did give me an apple. One sketch did give me a bit. What's about him, you know? I don't rap, you understand? Right. One hold it, give me a... Hey, blood, come here, let's go. And I threw the bitch down the stairs. Read back my head, yeah, you know I can't tell me nothing, like, nobody can't tell me nothing, like, what?
Seemingly standing upon departing highways, watching lost souls at crossroads, losing their cultures and losing their religion, being struck by depression, swimming in oceans of hopelessness, finding hopefuls with overalls with a bag full of confidence, standing upon the foundation of structures and nations, taking pot shots at those lost souls who are scouring the earth for peanuts, because capitalism works upon depriving the have-nots. So African immigrants will be living in pessimism, debating their futures. Meeting familiar looking strangers in weird environments and colder climates. Some labeled as primates, but in reality, these are my lost and found cousins. But still in 2006, I found myself unrecognized by some. For we've scattered seeds of our mental faculties onto hostile land and watching them grow hostile, frustrated, pissed off and angry, wondering to the world, who the hell do I be? Making the mind susceptible to nigger, negro, necro, nothing mentalities. Or sometimes they become like me, just hungry. And I be meeting these seeds, now going into strange fruit, and we'll both be debating who we both be. Oh, you's a nigger? Well, I'm pleased to meet you. Me? No, sir. My name is TuggsS.T.A.R, Togobo, Agama. I'm an Ebe born in Britain, so William a Ghanaian, whose ancestors descended from the Dahomey Kingdom, back when high walls guarded against outside slave warriors. Inside were brutal soldiers causing certain sections to migrate to the region called the Volta, later invited by Kwame Nkrumah to become Ghana, whose parents descended to Great Britain and gave birth to a poet who inherited traditions, made in the mold of the old. And I'm meeting these diverse human beings and remain disturbed by the experiences, so I mesh these emotions up into letters and I splatter it out in a new language. In fact, the first generation to ever refer to English as my first. And I look back at those past souls who used to walk with the spirit before I was grounded on with walking with it. And then looking back, wondering what's going to become of it. That I'm broken-hearted, stuck in between continuing the culture and just saying forget it, like I respect the opinions and philosophies of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, just not the race-first philosophy. Stuck in between the black man's rise and Caucasian's demise, more so mixed-minded in these times, but we're all just trying to find a way. Or at least find one who answers some, though sometimes when I'm done, parents are looking at me like, say, I'm the one now. Sisters, aunties, I'm just one who once read a little something and now sharing my experience and opinions, but don't get me wrong, I'm not running away from my calling, for I'll still speak to your children. I still go into your schools, for I'm looking forward to meeting him too. Or her. Or her. Cause that slogan, no nation can rise higher than this woman, women may be true. She was so confused, wondering which man's gonna be leading the conscious heads or the roughnecks, shooters or the pimps. And I wanna represent that category, don't even put me as an option. Ignoring the feeling she's feeling when I'm speaking, reminding her inner being that we ain't no option, but the standard. And I TuggsS.T.A.R walk the planet with this. So whether it's, I really admire your people and your culture, what say we take this a little further? I appreciate that. But don't be offended when I say only deal with sisters, or even I know your situation, but so we still pursue this relationship. I'm flattered, but understand I done already found my soulmate, and every day I'm working hard on being a king that can be worthy of that queen. That's too moralistic, too archaic, a throwback to the 60s. It's the 2006, brother, it's not about colour. You're right, it's about culture, and unless I can refer to as my African queen, it's not happening, see? There you go, TuggsS.T.A.R with that damn tongue again. See, it's hard for me to suppress my passion for the struggles. When our women are parading on television, being told it's good viewing, feeding wild-minded boys who were once being told it's immoral to it being natural. When sisters go from being sloshers to hoes, from bitches to gashes, and boys be repeating it like say they can get a high-paying job if they be saying it. Ludicrous. Like what? Disc jockey. Like rapper. Like R&B singer, like television presenter, known to the world as mistreaters. Understand, the stronger the disrespect, the stronger the words that TuggsS.T.A.R will project. Cause nowadays little girls be like, it's all good, yo, cause she getting paid, yo. To those girls growing older and wise and not even seeing those old immature boys to men made in their image and likeness as options. Cause for some, those times when those boys to men were options are for them long gone.
You see, I lay down in a room of 5 different colors, up to 3, 4, 5 different brothers. See, I was never mothered, so I never bothered to adorn myself in clothing that covered. You see, the less that I wore, the less that I suffered from loneliness. So I used to roll the herb, where I'd send skunk smoke signals of distress. When man would sometimes try and touch my breast, I remember his red, gold and green string vest. Funny, back then, they never used words like hoe or sket. It was slosh up or dirty gal. That would suffice. I know there were more, but I forget. What? Do I regret going to that yard at that time? Should I have gone at 8:45? Would there have been something different on their minds? Would they have committed a different crime and would I have been just fine? Or did our problems begin from way further back down the line? So should I take it back? All the way back to the Middle Passage and describe how my ancestors were debased, sold and damaged? Or do I talk about when I came to England, this God-forsaken country, wandering around the streets paved with ish and being called wogs and monkeys? Or do I talk about motherless fathers and fatherless mothers and lack of support from extended family and others? Do I blame myself? Or do I blame those brothers? Or do I blame the fact that there was no food in my damn cupboard? Or do I even care? With my heart filled with fear, as I wished and I prayed that I'd get out of there. But you see, the black God couldn't hear, and the white God didn't care. While the gruff voice said,
don't be greedy, you'll have to share.
And he had the nerve to stroke my hair as if he cared and whisper in my ear,
don't be scared.
Why was I in hell? And who was I meant to tell about these colors and these sounds and these smells? Yellow. You know, I always like yellow. Yellow is irie. You know, they say my sister's yellow. Well, yellow is brown skin. Brown skin, you know. Brown skin, you know I hate your brown skin. And your vest, and your cap, and your shirt. Please stop, it really hurts. What? Like it hurts when your clothes no longer fit. Or when they say you wanted it. Or when they beat you for the hell of it, or when you try to slit your wrist. Or when they say to you, no, you've made a mistake. You've got the wrong one. Or when they say that one by one. Or when they look at your beautiful prints and say,
Not my son.
Hey, that ain't my picture.
Not my son, that.
See, this generation has begun the footsteps to family destruction. From absentee parents to parents just not caring. Stuck at home, growing old and alone, thinking same waste or different gender relationships are the burden of wasteful chances. And I'm continually greeting people meeting their last seasons, stuck at a crossroads of loneliness, debating options. But I greet you with peace and open-mindedness, trying to understand the decisions that the feared African peoples are left with. So on this last mission, I present to you a collection of lost love poems. Please, take it with you. Slip it in your pocket and take it home, knowing your home is our home. And in your quiet moments, let the better moments of your memories welcome you back home. So welcome. So welcome. So welcome. So welcome.
So you said you wanted to talk, huh?
why do you have to continually disrespect this family?
What are you talking about?
Why do you have to do it again?
Do what again?
Why do you have to do it again?
Excuse me.
I'm not an idiot now.
Please say,
Do you know what? I'm not an
You're
idiot.
gonna come home with this type of accusation.
I know about Charlene.
Who the hell is Charlene?
Yeah, I know about for an idiot.
What do you think? She
Don't take me for an idiot. Don't take me for an idiot. She phoned up.
Phone who?
Right. I'm riding. And I'm riding. And I'm riding. And I'm riding. I'm riding. And 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 I'm riding. I'm riding. I'm riding to right my wrongs. Deeply influenced by experiences, history, visuals and lyrics to songs. Formulating, creating and arranging words without fear to tell them. Longing to move kids from baby goats to children. Filling them and sowing them with soulful seeds of success. For nothing less will evoke the best from these Gaga gods. See, tell your children to aim beyond the stars. Tell your children to aim beyond the stars, for nowadays these stars are created by Kronos gods which ain't ours. And these stars get struck down by the same people who put them up. That's why when they say you get knocked unconscious, you see stars when you look up. Give them reason to live with purpose and duty eternally. Because they just might be God's graduation graduates in the guise of Marcus Messiah God. Because trust me, whatever they digest will impact on who they are. So I choose to surround them with lyrics of Marley, vision of Nkrumah, and fearfulness of Nat Turner, because out in the streets, where our children roam, they call it murder. Murder of our future. See, look in the eyes of our babies. Look in the eyes of our babies and tell me that they don't reflect expectation. And look in the eyes of our babies and tell me that they don't see the image of the Creator looking right back, making that connection, saying, ride for me, die for me, live for me, be you for me. See, now we have to fill these minds with dissemination skills. Skills to break down the complex subliminal programming because they're intrinsically rife.
From Finding Nemo to A Bug's Life. With assessment skills to select future husband or wife into their life. See our children. Our children must see positive images of themselves via books, examples, magazines, artifacts, pictures, dolls and figurines, TV, DVD, musically, culturally, historically, spiritually, and ultimately fueling their identity. See, our children or watotos or youth must be equipped with weapons of mass organization and armed with African pride and truth, with a promise to keep this fire burning for longer than I was in this recording booth.
I found him. So, y'all want to be a poet, huh? Because you like the way we spit it. But if I had to choose, well, I want to pick it. Believe me, the road we walk ain't easy. And I'm fighting self-doubt at least 3 times a day, B. Struggling against a life of predictability, with a lyrical ability as I'm predicting what our future be. You know, be an excellent child at nursery, even excel at primary, get a little restless at secondary. Though if you're lucky, finish uni, find a job, start a family, wait to death and teach exactly the same thing to your kids, and pray they don't stray before reaching uni, having their biological or physical educational teachers directed by rappers on TV. But whether working or not, most have really done forgot to find satisfying jobs. Look back at life at 43 and question, what would have happened had I dared to follow my dreams?
And that's why, you see me, I don't write poetry simply to inspire poets to write poetry. Because I am not, and never will be, a poet in isolation. I want to inspire the fulfillment of the vision of nations. My poetry is an act of devotion and dedication, as opposed to emotional self-gratification over my own ego, while we go nowhere. But now this system's decadent role with vanity is our goal and ignorance as our humble abode. This is a part of something much, much bigger. Simply but importantly, I am the river, carrying souls to the ocean in devotion upon the notion that this poetry is a tool to counteract current states of mind and being, instilling Africans with a sense of self-worth, self-pride, and self-respect, so we command respect from anyone who would disrespect and protect everything that is ours, be it ourselves, our culture, or the circumstances of our reality, from culture bandits, racist murderers, and acts of police brutality. And just in case of the eventuality, I want to inspire lawyers so that the murderers are brought to justice in actuality. I want to inspire lawyers so that it's not so easy for us to be criminalized and having legitimized in the eyes of those who commit the worst crimes daily. And maybe we should create a new justice system, since currently one does not exist. And furthermore from this, I want to inspire doctors that will end our suffering from disease and expose those international multi-billion-dollar conspiracies known as AIDS, Ebola, and malaria. And how they were and how they were deliberately unleashing Africa. And then I want to inspire and expose again and start doing the work to which Oxfam and Red Cross State claim. All the years they've been in Africa while nothing has changed and he works himself rich in the name of our pay. I wanna inspire teachers in the game. Teachers to build schools that nurture natural genius instead of cultivate fools and fulfill the true meaning of education to bring out what is from within, and that's far greater than anything that GCSEs to PhDs can bring. Like architects that resurrect the genius of Imhotep, historians to ensure that the lion tells his own tale. See me, I can't afford to fail because this poetry is not about me. I am a griot, and this is a black print or a plan so that future generations shall know and understand and never again question whether or not we're African. This is not about having total professionals just so we can say they exist. So when Black History Month comes along, we can draw for that long, elongated list and say, he was famous for doing that and she became famous for doing this. I want to inspire knowledge of self with this. So that we don't just get black lawyers, but black lawyers. Not just black doctors, but black doctors. Not just black teachers, but black teachers. If we're going to have politicians, then we need black politicians. Not politicians who happen to be black, but lack the fundamental aspect of responsibility to their people. Blind to themselves because they're too busy trying to be equal. Is about preparation for nation building. These words were never meant to remain stagnant. So for those who would say that it's better to do than talk for satisfaction, know that actions only speak louder than words that don't inspire action. And that's why I don't write poetry simply to inspire poets to write poetry. Because I am not and never will be a poet in isolation. But if we're going to inspire the fulfillment of the vision of nations, then we need poets. Poets to tell the story and ensure that our present and our future are filled with glory.
Black people in poetry represent alternative reality. Creative and happy, no guarantee of money. But hey, that's how life goes with a fortunate, unfortunate few, struggling to box out of the box that life has condemned us in. Though some artists, they're lucky, and they become rich, and you can see them flossing in MTV cribs. But for those who are broke, they become poets, seeking audiences, appreciating philosophical scripts, giving those in employment, entertainment, escapism from the boxes they're in. A former life for some, a future life for most. Stuck in the matrix, aka full-time employment, waiting for Morpheus to snatch them out from the oblivion so they can harness their talents and do something a little bit more relevant. But a poet is a little like the African continent. Everyone wants what you got, but no one wants to pay. But hey, sometimes we say forget it. Why? Because we love to spread the message. And there's nothing like it when someone comes up to you and says, you know those words you speak, they really affected me. Sometimes I shine in those industry-sponsored artists who sometimes get over a G on the same time stage I'm performing for free.
See, and I thought it was just me, babe. See, and that's exactly why we need to be business-minded in this industry. See, whether it be creating creative writing workshops or merchandising CDs, books, t-shirts or laminates. See, we just want something for our art. Come on stage, people say, yo, blood, that was a blessed performance. Yeah, but they don't want to buy it. And see, some of these poets' lyrics are ingrained in genetics, interwoven like fabrics, bringing masterful game plans and revolutionary tactics for those who the cap fits. And these words are constructed from an assault of 26 letters, dipped, arranged, packaged and presented in phonic expressions of poetic practitude, with the ability to make up words like practitude, and present them in poetry slams astute and shrewd, viewed by poetical peers as important like the body needs water or food, but never afraid to download fables from these ancient tombs. Let these last lines lines of this lion's lyrics, language and eternal thinking labyrinths, for this is the word. Sometimes obscured by the absurd and muted so it's not heard, so only 3 ninths of a third even see the glitch, even see the glitch, even see the glitch in the matrix. See when people say, yo, Ahmed, I say, yo, what's up, man? They say, yo, Ahmed, I say, yo, what's up, man? They say, yo, Ahmed, I say, what? They say, what inspires you to write, God? And I said, truly? I said, it's the God in me which makes it flow so fluently. Poetry in motion? No, I'm bringing motion to poetry. Planted and scattered many seeds so we can bear fruit from this poet tree. And see, I am a poet. But at first, I didn't know it because I was blessed with many talents and skills. But unlike the hands of time, I am not constant or forever. However, I tick and try shows what time is. Not writing to make dough or front a show. My flow collaborates what I hear with what I see with what I know. So now I choose to use the talents and skills sent from the divine and continue to undress your closed minds. And even if your mind is open, then this token of words serves and preserves to keep those minds open. For I was chosen, like many others, like TuggsS.T.A.R, like ShakaRa, like OneNess, like Shortman, like Lara, like Zane Edwards, like David J, to writing. You see this? This is my calling. My call in from the playing field of contribution. For many skills are paramount to the universal solution. And when he calls, oh, you listen. And she told me, I am a poet. I am a spirit. I am a soul willing to fulfill it, give it, share it with those willing to hear it and those not willing to hear it. Will you just have?
Poets are also sometimes like prophets, not always appreciated the places they come from. Well, that's true only partly, until you go away and come back like Flowetry and charge you £20, £25, £50 plus booking fee to come and see me. Still a concert as well, huh? Have I seen them? Yeah, every other month back in 1997. This was London's Black Pepper, it was even free before 7. Shit, the irony. My father once asked me, are you making enough money from the events that you're performing? I'm making enough? Enough just to make some. So how do we get paid? Okay, for most we don't, or those who know don't tell. And those who tell are busy on the road trying to get some merchandise to try and finance their lives. But sometimes being so strongly for the message can sometimes give you a complex. See, once I had a book that I felt almost embarrassed to promote, heard quotes that £6 for my heartfelt work was too much for homegrown audiences to support. Meanwhile, artists coming over bearing accents with some photocopied piece of a paper with someone else to sell out of their stock. I'm like, wow, this ain't easy. I've had workshops where £50 is supposed to last me 2 weeks. And I'm like, damn, I'll probably make a profit if I was on benefits. Believe that's like £40 a week and that's guaranteed. And I'm like, wow, that stuff ain't easy. I once had a show, check it. I once had a show where the promoter confused my books for flyers. So when I'm performing for free, they're handing out my books as freebies. And then don't even want to try and compensate me. I'm like, damn.
True story.
That was the guy trying to get the money back. I've also young budding poets. Use your discretion. When promoters tell you we ain't got no money, we're going to give you excellent exposure. Understand, use your discretion, but that exposure don't always matter. For I remember people have been doing this since their teens, stopped and recognized on the street, but that promise of cheddar, that promise of exposure still ain't brought no cheddar. Now, I pride myself in being a socially conscious political artist, but sometimes I feel almost banned from the British stages. Meanwhile, my American contemporaries find themselves in demand by the British public. I'm like, damn, this really ain't easy.
nerve to tell me that the time for chatting about politics was over and that I should save my black stuff till the month of October. And that lyrically, they were feeling me, but they thought that my content belonged back in the 60s and the 70s. They said that I should take ease, talk about birds and bees and smoking trees, and write meaningless haikus and similes about taxi touts and lager louts and postmodernist stuff where no one knows what the hell you be talking about. But then, I could say it's all about feeling, that there's no need to be objective because it ain't got no meaning. Then the guy winked and said, catch my drift? Now stop going on like you've got some sort of divine gift. Oh. On my cheek he placed a kiss, thought that was it, and walked away. In my mind screamed lyricals, all my life, all my days, do I go, do I stay, do I let him walk away, bite my tongue, I have my say? So I ran up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and said, excuse me, brother, but what the hell are you telling me? Have you come in peace with a vessel for my enemy? Because your words are of no use to me. You should be defending me. Instead of telling me that my words belong back in the 60s and 70s, now we've passed the 80s and 90s and still my people ain't free. Still at mass, we living in poverty, mentally, spiritually, physically in captivity. So look, let's not get it twisted, yeah? I will never stop spitting for freedom until my people are free. Now you see, what can I do? That's just me. Because I'm on a mission. Listen, it's not my decision within confliction of my own apotheosis and derision. Right now I speak with conviction, clear diction. Love for the word be my only addiction. And in this prison, an addiction like mine can mean sudden death. Making my objective known, I could be risking my last breath. But I don't sweat, nor do I forget what God has given me, a mind so I can rhyme and offload vocal armory, break the chains that shackle me, walk in authenticity, licking intellectuals, shut down all of those who try to silence me. Because you see, some may look at me and deduce my words down to some crazy ideology, when in fact it's just the way to be, for I was just sent here to be, spreading positivity to the soul. To the soul. But at the same time, a sister's got to eat, you know what I mean? Put clothes on the back and shoes on the feet. I mean, if it wasn't for my mind, desperate times would make me take to the street. But you see, I understand that it's bigger than poetry. So I'ma hang in there, man.
You know, on the real, all this talk about cheddar shouldn't even matter. For I'd love to harness the talents of John the Baptist, go round to different villages, spreading the word like ancient griots. But I froze on the road. For 2 months direct debits can sign my life to death. And I know I'm above this life that I'm living, but hey, that's how it goes when you're living in your world. Because in my world, we're all free. The idea of money, someone's sick fantasy. There's clothes, foods, and shelter for all who are hungry. Y'all feel me? Yes. Y'all feel me? Yes. See, that's why I'm a poet. Got the ability to take your fantasies and make it a reality, but sometimes I envy the predictability in some lives, because I don't mind getting married, you know, one day having a beautiful wife, but his blinging thing is so in, it's got to bother thinking unless his poetry starts blinging, or I start singing, I may be the last lineage of my family's generation, and that's scary. So question, why did I become a poet, huh? Very good question. Excuse me if I relay another cliche. Why didn't I choose poetry? That chose me. If I had to choose, well, I won't pick it. But then again, I won't choose anything else that don't satisfy my soul, like it is with writing poems. 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 21, 2, 6, 5! OneNess Sankara. Let's get. Let's get.
wise words. Keep the eyes open for Sophie. God bless you. Have a safe journey home. Thank you for coming out of this house.